Hi, everybody. You're listening to Radio Cherry Bombe, and I'm your host, Kerry Diamond, coming to you from Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center in the heart of New York City. Summertime is pretty much here, so I thought it would be fun to interview an ice cream expert. Today's guest is Tamara Keefe, founder of Clementine's Ice Cream. Tamara joins me to talk about what makes her company and its flavors so unique, and she also shares the incredible story of what inspired Clementine's, why she walked away from her successful corporate career, and how she built her company from the ground up. You're going to be very impressed. Plus, Tamara tells us about Clementine's famous flavor, the Gooey butter cake ice cream, and she explains what ConeCon is all about. You could probably guess. And we also talk about her upcoming wedding and why ice cream might just be the happiest food there is. Stay tuned for my conversation with Tamara Keefe. Today's episode is brought to you by Fisher & Paykel. The best kitchens don't start with appliances or layouts. They start with people. How you move through a space, how you cook, how you host, how you connect. For more than 90 years, Fisher & Paykel has believed in designing for real lives, creating appliances that integrate seamlessly into the architecture of your home, giving you the freedom to design a kitchen that feels intuitive, personal, and effortless. It's not just choosing finishes or appliances, but creating a space that works in harmony with how you live. At the center of it all is something Fisher & Paykel calls design freedom. The ability to move beyond standard layouts and create a kitchen tailored to you. Fisher & Paykel knows that no two homes are the same, just as no two cooks are the same. A well-designed kitchen doesn't just look beautiful. It supports a life well lived. To learn more about the world of Fisher & Paykel and their incredible appliances, from ovens to cooktops, refrigerators, dishwashers, and washing machines, visit fisherpaykel.com. Today's show is also presented by Nonino. Time for a cocktail history lesson. One of my favorite cocktails is the Paper Plane. It's balanced, tart, juicy, slightly bitter, and distinguished by its signature bright orange color. The drink was created by bartender Sam Ross almost 20 years ago, and he named it for the song Paper Planes by MIA. I'm not sure how long it takes for a drink to be considered a classic, but the Paper Plane is most definitely a modern classic. One of the essential ingredients of a Paper Plane is Nonino Amaro. This legendary Amaro is crafted by a family distillery in Italy that has been led by women for 6 generations. In fact, the Nonino Amaro recipe was created by the family matriarch Silvia Nonino and updated in 1992 by 3 of her granddaughters, Elisabetta, Antonella, and Cristina. Their version of the bittersweet herbaceous Amaro is the one beloved today by bartenders and mixologists around the world. So the next time you're at your favorite cocktail bar or lounge, ask for a Nonino Paper Plane and taste the story for yourself. Follow Nonino Amaro to stay inspired or to share the best place to enjoy a Paper Plane. And don't forget, always drink responsibly. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Tamara Keefe, welcome to Radio Cherry Bombe.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here.
I'm so thrilled that we can talk, and it's ice cream season.
It is. It is. Everyone's in the mood.
But I guess for you, ice cream season is 365 days a year.
It is. It is. It's never not ice cream season. And many people eat ice cream year round. They just tend to eat more of it during the summer months.
Got it. I guess it's sort of like holiday shopping, right? People shop all year long, but they just shop more in November and December.
That's right. We just try to encourage everyone to eat more ice cream in the winter.
Well, I love ice cream. I come from a family of people who love ice cream, so we are fully supportive of that. How did you get your start in the ice cream world?
You know, it was an interesting story because I have been making ice cream since I was a kid. We started making ice cream as a family after church on Sundays. I think I was about 7 or 8. I heard little kids talk about going for ice cream. And so, of course, I ran over to my mother and I pulled on her dress and I said, "Hey, do we get to go for ice cream?" And she was like, "No, honey." So I have 4 older brothers, my parents and grandparents.
You're one of 5?
Yes.
Oh, I'm one of 5 too.
I'm one of 5. I'm the youngest and the only girl.
I'm the oldest.
And it was my parents and grandparents. So we were like a little army growing up. And so, as you can imagine, we didn't get invited to people's houses very often, right? That's a lot to expect. And I come from really humble beginnings. So we were kind of like that family that 2 days before Thanksgiving, groceries showed up on our stoop. But like my mom was always cooking for the pregnant ladies and my dad was always fixing the roof of the church or something like that. One summer, I heard all these kids talking and every weekend I'd ask, can we go? Can we go? And my mom was no. So, you know, when you're a kid, you don't know that you're not supposed to make your parents feel bad for being poor. You just know that other kids get to do something that you don't. Well, one Sunday we were driving home and we stopped at a garage sale. And my mom found an old hand crank for $2. And so she bought it.
You need to describe the hand crank because I know what that is because I went to Girl Scout camp.
Oh, okay.
The one with the rock salt.
The rock salt.
Yep. So explain the people so they have a visual.
Yeah. So it's like a wooden bucket with another bucket inside. And in between the two buckets, you put lots of rock salt and it has a hand crank on the top and you wear your arm out, but you put all the milk and cream, you put all the stuff in the inner bucket and then you churn it. And the rock salt and everything does its magic and it creates ice cream, but you have to sit there and like churn it forever.
You earn that ice cream.
You do earn it. She found this for $2 and she said, okay. She brought it home. She said, go change your clothes, do your chores, and meet back in the kitchen in an hour. And we started making ice cream as a family every Sunday. Well, what happened was at church, word kind of got out that we were making homemade ice cream. And so these families who we were never close with started asking if they could come to our house. Now, that never happened. And my family, we couldn't clearly afford to make ice cream for everyone. One family would bring the milk, another family would bring the cream, someone else would bring the strawberries. And so all of a sudden, my whole sense of community changed because of an ice cream cone. And that like changed my life. I had friends I never had before. I was invited to people's houses I was never invited to.
That's an amazing story.
We went from that family to like the most popular family. And it was because of ice cream. And that always stayed with me. So it changed my life as a kid. And then I say it changed my life a second time as an adult because I grew up in life. I ended up working in the food industry. So I worked in the ingredient side of the business first. And then
Who'd you work for?
I worked for DuPont in their nutrition and health platform. So I worked in proteins and emulsifiers. So I worked in ingredients first. And then I went to work on the CPG side because I did marketing, brand, and strategy in my career, but for food and food line extensions and food products. So then I went to
What were some of the ones you worked on?
Oh my gosh, I worked on Bolthouse Farms and anything with a protein platform. Gatorade, I worked on myriads of protein bars.
Protein platform.
All the big CPG companies have different platforms. They have a fiber platform, they have a protein platform, and there's lots of market research done around consumers who believe and want more protein,
How
as an
interesting.
example.
So it doesn't necessarily matter about the brand. If there are multiple brands within the protein platform, the fiber platform. Wow. Okay.
Yes. We would study those consumers. And so I could tell you, hey, this customer who looks like this, believes this, has these kinds of problems, is this age. They're looking for protein. They want it in beverages. They want it in bars. They want it in bread.
And this was before the big protein
This was before
craze.
the big protein craze. I did all that. And so I started working with all these big CPG companies. And so eventually I went to work for them doing the same thing, but marketing and brand. And so I ended up getting clucked out by one of our biggest customers, Abbott. And so then I went to run a $70 million business.
Abbott Creamery?
No, Abbott Labs, Abbott Nutrition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like Ensure.
It's a whole world I don't know about. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yes, there's lots and lots of interesting things and line extensions out there. So I went to run that business. Ensure, it's for older people. It's protein in a bottle. People who have cancer who can't consume food because of their treatments. It prevents malnutrition and lets people live longer. And so I was running that business globally because I was an expert in protein. I did marketing. That was my thing. I was traveling all over the world like crazy. I think in 2012, I traveled 262 days that year.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even have to pay Missouri state income tax because I wasn't there enough. Crazy.
That is crazy. I thought I traveled a lot.
Yeah, those were the days. I was with my girlfriends at Lake of the Ozarks. I'm sure you've heard of it, if nothing else, from the TV show. I had kind of one of those ugly cry and breakdown moments with my girlfriends sitting out drinking coffee on the dock. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so miserable. And they're like, what are you talking about? You have this amazing life and you don't have kids and you don't have, they're like, you live this glamorous life. And from the outside, it looked like I did, but I was really miserable. And I said, I'm 38 years old. I have no husband, no children, no family. I never see my friends. Like, what am I doing with my life? And you'll probably want to edit this part out. And oh, by the way, I hadn't had sex in 6 months.
No, I'm not editing that out.
I don't know what
That's good for people to know.
But I was just like, what am I doing with my life? I was just so miserable. And my really close girlfriend, Kerry, next to me, she turns to me and she says, quit. And I'm like, what? And she's like, quit. I'm like, you don't quit corporate America. Not at the level that I was. I come from really humble beginnings. I put myself through undergraduate,
those
graduate.
are big salaries, yeah.
Yes.
It's tough to walk away from those.
My family would think I was nuts. And my other girlfriend, and I'm ugly crying, right? We've all had those moments. The snot is running down your face and you're just like, I don't like my life. I'm like, well, what would I do? And my other girlfriend, Valerie, she turns to me and she starts laughing. And she goes, you're always complaining St. Louis doesn't have great ice cream. You're always bitching our neighborhood doesn't have an ice cream parlor. And no one makes better ice cream than you.
Stop. This was your girlfriend's idea?
Yeah, it was. Just there in that moment of vulnerability. And I was like, right?
So you continued to make homemade ice cream?
My whole life.
That's funny.
My whole life. Like some people play chess, some people play golf. Like I would always make ice cream. I had my ice cream maker. I would go home.
Would you have like a little Cuisinart one?
No, I had like a very expensive Italian musso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even when I was traveled or for family or friends, like I was making ice cream for everyone. And so as I sat there that weekend, I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I said, well, we discussed it. I was like, okay, I could fail and lose everything, and then I'm going to move into your basement. And she was like, great, you can do that. And we just talked through it. And I said, well, if I was okay with the worst possible scenario, I mean, I could always go back and get another job. Maybe not at the level that I was at or in that trajectory, but like I could do it. And I said, okay. And so that weekend, I wrote my business plan, put together my PowerPoint deck and my financials. And 2 weeks later, I resigned and I never looked back.
Wow, that was fast.
I was done. I was just exhausted.
We'll be right back with today's guest. The new issue of Cherry Bombe is almost here. If you already subscribe to our print magazine, thank you. Be sure to check your inbox so you can choose which cover you'd like to get. We have 5 different covers. The theme is game changers, and all of the women featured have changed the game in a major way. Not a subscriber? Head to cherrybombe.com and subscribe right now to get issues delivered direct to you. You can also pick up an issue at one of the great bookstores and culinary shops that carries Cherry Bombe, like McNally Jackson, right here at Rockefeller Center. The business plan that you wrote, how similar is that to what Clementine's is today?
Nothing.
Tell us about the business plan.
Well, I was so burnt out. I really had this very romantic notion of just opening a neighborhood ice cream parlor, making the ice cream, working in it, meeting someone, settling down, having a little girl, raising her in an ice cream parlor. This was my notion, and this was my business plan, was just to open one. And so that compared to what we are today is very, very different.
And what was the name in the beginning?
It's always been Clementine's ice cream.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And where's that from?
So Clementine was my grandmother's best friend. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, all grandmas looked the same. She had this permed head of hair. When her head moved, her perm would kind of follow. And she wore house coats and big styrofoam shoes and house dresses, pantsuits.
Everybody's grandmother looked the same back then.
They did.
What was that all about?
I don't know. But Clementine did not look like that. Clementine, she had long silver hair. She wore red lipstick. She wore high heels. I'd never seen a grandma wear high heels. And I just thought she was the most elegant creature. I can picture her in my mind. The most elegant creature I'd ever seen. And so I grew up thinking someday I'm going to have a little girl and name her Clementine. She was going to end up being like her, or I would raise her like her. Well, I have not been blessed with kids in this lifetime. And so when I opened Clementine, it was like my baby, and it fits perfectly.
Tell us about the first Clementine's scoop shop. Scoop shops, ice cream parlors, what's your preferred term?
We call them parlors now, but scoop shops, that works too. I had to have it in my neighborhood. I put together a really good plan when I started. Once I kind of figured out how I was going to build this ice cream business, I knew I didn't want to make ice cream in the parlor because I didn't want to pay retail price per square footage for manufacturing, right? Because retail, it's very expensive.
Repeat that for everybody out there in case someone's opening their own place. That's
sure.
So interesting.
The retail price per square footage that you pay to have a brick and mortar is so much more expensive than finding some industrial or manufacturing space, which is like a third of the cost. So you never want to, unless your concept is a restaurant or something where you have to do that, you never want to pay that because you're just setting yourself up for unnecessary expenses and expenditures.
So interesting. So you wanted to use every square foot for retail.
Yes.
And even the transporting back and forth of the ice cream was still more cost efficient.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so when I started Clementine's, I couldn't afford any of the main real estate on the main drag on Park Avenue in Lafayette Square. And so I was trying to figure that out, but I wanted to start Clementines. So I started manufacturing and making the ice cream for all of the James Beard restaurants in town. I started doing wholesale first because I knew that if I could get my name on menus, that people would start talking about it and I would create demand. And then I'd start getting publicity and people would start writing about it. And
that's a hustle, though.
Yeah.
How did you convince them that this woman who had no experience in this should be the one to provide the ice cream?
I walked in the back door of every cool restaurant that I could. I just literally walked in the back door through the kitchen and I found the chef and I was like, here I am, try my ice cream. And they're like, who are you and why did you come in the back door? And I'm like, try this.
Security.
That's right. But who's going to turn down ice cream?
100%. Yeah.
Right. So literally, they were skeptical and then they tried and they're like, wow, we can't even make anything this good. And so I started selling to restaurants first.
And were you making special flavors for the different restaurants?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I made custom flavors for different restaurants while I was building my library of flavors and just kind of going after it like that. Well, then people started seeing my name on the menus and I started getting phone calls about hey, where can we get your ice cream? And I got this idea, and this was way before Postmates or Uber Eats, any of those companies existed. I said, what if I offer free delivery of my ice cream around the St. Louis metropolitan area, right? And so I started doing that, and people had never heard of that. And I was willing to drive and deliver it in every neighborhood, everywhere, if you were willing to order it.
So ambitious. How did you get the word out about the delivery service?
It just started traveling word of mouth. And people were like, oh my gosh, I just got this. Social media was still very young, and it just went like wildfire. And so I think by November of 2014, I delivered over 1,500 pints of ice cream. It was crazy. And so then I got this other idea. I live in Lafayette Square is a very urban, historic neighborhood in St. Louis that has lots of Victorian mansions and walk-ups. And I said, I'm going to walk to all the big mansions around the park, and I'm going to ask them if they are throwing holiday parties. And I offered free ice cream if they would let me put out an order sheet at their Christmas parties. So I also did 14 Christmas parties, and I was like Mary Kay Lady of Ice Cream. I'd set my order sheet out. And so I was all hustle.
I was just going to say, this is like hustle 101.
Yes, I hustled. So I was selling to restaurants. I was selling to people. I was delivering ice cream.
Were you happy or happier?
I was ecstatic. Adrenaline. I was exhausted. I was tired, but I didn't care. This was amazing. And people were loving my ice cream. And it was getting out there, and it was just what I was doing. Then in December, it was 1,700 pints. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't sustainable. And so there was this little spot in the worst corner of my cool little city urban neighborhood that used to be a wine bar. And I knew the guy who owned the space and the wine bar lived in our neighborhood. So one night with me and a couple of my pints, I tromple up to his front door and I bang on the door at 9 o'clock because I knew he'd be home. And he's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Tamara. I have Clementine's ice cream and I want to open a parlor in the neighborhood and I want your spot and here's my ice cream. Just eat it. And so he was like, whoa. And so literally he invited me in and I was with him for 3.5 hours. He ate all the ice cream. And by the time I left, he agreed to rent me that little 500 square foot wine bar.
Was he done with the wine bar?
It would have been closed for 3 years. He just could never give it up. So he just closed it and always thought maybe he'd reopen it someday and just sat on it. And so by the end of the night, it was mine.
You are persistent.
Yes.
Persuasive. That's the word I was looking for. You are persuasive.
I had this vision and dream. I wanted this little ice cream parlor for our neighborhood.
And a corner location is great.
Yeah. And it's really hidden. It's this hidden gem. If you know kind of a place. I went and I leased the space. And then eventually I ended up buying the unit from him. I laid the tile myself. I laid the floor. I would drive to Home Depot. And they would teach me how to put tile on the wall. They would teach me how to put wood. I drive back and forth all day over months. So I totally built that one myself because I didn't really have that much money. I got that built. And then as this was happening, I ran out of money. Like everyone, right? Everything takes twice as long and costs twice as much. I didn't come from a family that I could be like, hey, I need a couple $100,000. You got it sitting around. But the only place that I had it, that I knew I could get it, was my 401k.
Oh, you did what I did.
Yes. So I cashed it out and I said, okay, I'm taking the biggest bet of my life and that's on myself. And so I did it. And so at that point, there was no fail. There has never been a fail. There's never a choice. And I got my first parlor open in May of 2015. It's in this random weird corner in the back of the neighborhood. Of course, the first summer I opened, they put the street under construction.
Of course they
so
did.
You couldn't park. You had to park like 2 blocks away. And, I remember at the time my boyfriend said, I love you.
But you found a boyfriend.
I did find a boyfriend. I found a boyfriend and he said, I love you, but you're never going to make more than $300 a day here. No one's going to really come here, but I believe in you. And I'm like, screw that.
Yeah. Did you take that as a challenge?
I did. Because that's how I work. And from May 15th through the end of the year, I think we had over 57,000 people come through my little 500 square foot ice cream parlor in the worst corner. They had to park 2-3 blocks away. And we had lines for 7 and 8 hours in the summer that would go around the blocks. That just would never stop.
That makes me so happy. And what were you doing? Were you making ice cream, scooping,
I was
cleaning?
doing everything. I mean, I think
Tell
the
us.
first 4 years I survived on maybe 3 hours of sleep a night. I made all the ice cream like till 2-3 in the morning. I'd sleep 4 or 5 hours. I'd get up, I'd pull it out, move it from the blast freezer into the freezer. I'd get my deliveries set up. I'd deliver to all the restaurants and then I'd go open the store. Right? I'd open the shop. I'd start scoop all day. I'd work till 10 o'clock at night and I'd do the same thing. I mean, I made all the ice cream.
What were your biceps like back then?
Oh my gosh. Well, I wish I would have taken better care of myself physically because I ended up hurting my back.
Yeah.
Lifting 50-pound buckets of dairy all day long was rough and I ended up having to have surgery later. But
oh gosh.
But in the beginning, you do what you have to do until you
Yeah.
can hire somebody and then, you put it all back into the business like crazy. So we finally got our first parlor opened. The lines were nuts. People were writing about me. I have a food science background in the food industry. I knew about lots of different technologies and things. And so I was the first one in the country to do boozy ice cream. And so, getting all the legal stuff filed and doing all of that. So like no one had ever heard of boozy ice cream either. So that was, there's been no innovation in ice cream since Dippin' Dots. Really. Like true innovation.
Wait, this is crazy, but I don't think I've ever had a Dippin' Dot.
You're not missing out on anything. But it's part of like when we were kids, like so many people they come in all different flavors.
What are they exactly?
They're little ice cream dots.
I see them in the movie theaters.
Yeah. So they basically use the nitrogen flush as the ice cream is coming down and they end up in little like pearls of different flavors. So that was like this
And are
new
they yummy?
Well,
or they're just fine.
They're fine.
Okay.
Right. But when that's what then I think you think they're really yummy. I mean, I did too. So there really was no innovation in ice cream from a technology perspective or really thinking outside of the box, other than we started seeing more adventurous flavors come in and, 15, 17 years ago, but no innovation other than that. And so that was new. And at the time, my best friend was a vegan. And I remember her saying, hey, the only thing I miss about my new chosen lifestyle is ice cream. And she goes, and my son, now that he goes to birthday parties, he has to sit out because they only ate non-dairy. And she said, could you make me something? And I said, yes, I will. And so we were also the first people to really do at mass scale vegan non-dairy ice cream. Right from the beginning, we had these like cult followings for the vegan non-dairy. I mean, it took them all like another 3 or 4 or 5 years before they all started getting on the bandwagon. But we were the only people who had it. And our non-dairy tastes exactly like dairy ice cream. And it's really hard to formulate and it's really hard to do. And it's really expensive to make. We had these things that were really unique and different that no one in the marketplace had. I was just leaning into that, right? There's market opportunity and people who want it. Let's do it. The parlor was like doing so great. I mean, we couldn't believe how busy we were and people would hear about us. Moms would drive in from Chicago who like these moms groups. This one lady, she still buys. She comes buys 400 or 500 pints at a time of all the gluten-free, dairy-free, and she takes them back to Chicago and she distributes them.
Is there a black market for your product in Chicago? That's amazing.
But they could, that was the only way they could get it.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy. And I said, oh my gosh, I have to get another parlor open to alleviate these lines. And so it took me about another 1.5 to 2 years to get another parlor open.
Did you have to take on outside investment
Nope.
at that point? No.
I didn't take a paycheck for 3 years.
Yeah.
In fact, when I started Clementine's, I think one of the really, really smart things I did was the savings that I had, I paid everything off for 2 years because I didn't want to be put in a situation where I made a bad decision because of money. And I had seen lots of people do that in my life, and I didn't want to be one of those statistics. At least all my basics were taken care of.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you see the same people I see on Instagram and whatnot when they're like, entrepreneurs, you have to pay yourself. Don't forego a paycheck. And I see some of that and I'm like, and people have said that to me over the years too. And I'm like, but when you can't, where is that money supposed to come from?
Right. And I didn't for 4 years. And in the fourth year that I took my first annual salary was $14,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because people kept telling me, you got to pay yourself something. And so I figured if I just paid myself a little something, at least it would feel like I was getting something, even if it was next to nothing. And then, it went up from there. But
the entrepreneur life. So you opened the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Did it work out?
It did. So we got our Saint-Damon location opened. We had the same lines there. And I was like, it was kind of at that point that I said, wait a second, I think I have something. And then we all revert to our human nature, right? And I build brands. That's what I do best. And so I just reverted to who I was. And I was like, okay, I'm going to grow this thing. And so it was just a thing. And so then I got my third parlor opened and I was so tired and I was so exhausted and I had hurt my back. I was talking with a guy from my dairy co-op and I'm like, this is tough. And he goes, if you can just get to 5, you'll start making money and you can start hiring people.
Year 5.
No, parlor 5.
Oh, parlor 5.
I had to get to 5 units. Ooh. And I was like, okay. And so I did. I hunkered down and my goal was 5. And then I think when I hit probably 4, parlor number 4, I did start making money and I could start hiring people. And, all the things that I wasn't good at or I didn't want to do, I could hire that out. And finally I could afford a bookkeeper and then I could afford a controller and then I could afford to hire someone to run the parlors. And so I was like super focused to getting to that 5. And then, it changes, right? It gets easier and harder, right? More money, more problems, staff, I had to grow a lot as a human because I had worked 20 years in corporate America and I managed MBAs. My workforce now is nothing like that. The first 4 years, I was banging my head against the wall. I was not a great leader. I was firing people all the time. I made people cry. And I was like, how have these people survived in life this far, thus far? I had an epiphany. I woke up one day and I was like, oh my gosh, they're not the problem. I'm the problem. And once I reframed that and I learned to meet people where they were at and truly understand and have compassion and love for my team in a very different way because in the beginning it was much more about me and what I wanted to create and build and my flavors. It was very myopic. And by parlor 4, it changed. It wasn't about me anymore. It was all about my team. It was all about the opportunities. It was all about doing something new and different. And it just changed.
Yeah. Did you ever have a business coach or anything?
No, but I did join an organization which was amazing called EO, stands for Entrepreneurs Organization. And it's like masterminds of different business owners. Uh-huh. I started in their accelerator program. So once your business hit 250,000 to $1 million, they put you with other people with businesses your size and then an EO member who has a much bigger business. And they help coach you and they're invested in getting you over that $1 million mark.
I always wanted to look into things like that. Maybe not so much today, but back then. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't know where I'd find the time or the money to do it. How did you do it?
Well, I started in their accelerator program, so it was not as much money as becoming a full member. But once I hit over that $1 million mark, then I could justify it. And let me tell you, being surrounded by other CEOs and other people who have much bigger businesses, much different types of businesses, it's experience share.
Sure.
They've been everywhere that you have. And so I just started learning, listening, talking, networking, what worked for you, what didn't. And so all of a sudden I found I was in this ecosphere of entrepreneurs in St. Louis who now had a vested interest in helping me grow. I learned the systems, the processes to implement EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system. So I started building infrastructure in my business. I started putting all the things and the people that I needed to put in place in order to grow and scale before I did it.
When did you take on outside investment? Have you?
I just did this year. So I had seen many other ice cream companies and other ones that I had looked up to who took on investment early, and they either ended up going out of business, they changed their product, they lost their soul. You know, they did things that the investors made them do that maybe they wouldn't do, or they didn't have control anymore. I said, I'm not going to do that. And so I have grown my business intentionally, cautiously for 11 years. And just this year, when I couldn't leverage any more debt, right? So I used SBA loans, maxed out the debt, $5 million. They don't let you borrow any more than that. You know, we built this amazing 25,000 square foot ice cream production facility in St. Louis. And I was like, okay, now I have capacity for 50 ice cream parlors.
Incredible.
Let's go do this.
How many people do you employ?
260.
That's amazing. Was it hard to raise money?
It was. It was like a full-time job.
Yeah.
It was tough. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't hire an investment banker. I basically went to the people, my business mentors, and the people that I had known throughout the last 11 years and said, hey, I'm ready to do this. Always, here's another tip. Never ask for money, only ask for advice. And so then I had all these people who'd seen me grow. They'd seen the lines. They'd seen everything. You know, I had business mentors that I would meet with once or twice a year. Every time I'd meet with them, this is what I'm planning on doing. And then when I would meet with them again, I'd revisit and say, remember, I said I was going to do this. Well, I not only did this, but I did this and this. So I had 10 years of proving a track record plus more, so that by the time that I went to raise money, I had all these people who were like, yes, we're in. And other people would approach me about investing, and I would always say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. When I am, I'll let you know. And so by the time I went to raise money, I circled back to all those people and all those mentors through the years. They were like, yeah, how much do you need?
So many people don't have mentors. How did you find them?
I just sought them out. I sought out people who had experience and expertise in areas that I didn't, right? Finance, supply chain, operations, like you name it. I looked for other entrepreneurs who had grown, scaled, and exited their business.
They were happy to talk to you?
They loved talking to me. And I went to a lot of what most people would say ugly businesses. I have a mentor who his company makes water pumps. Like, you don't get any more ugly than that, right? Manufacturing water pump. You know,
right. You're not asking Anna Wintour to be your mentor.
No. But he had a $180 million business, right? So
Exactly.
I'm going to go to that person who's grown it, done it, and like, how do I do this? I was very strategic and smart about my business mentors, and I went to a lot of women who had different kinds of businesses, and I said, help teach me. Like, what are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? And I always made sure that I gave back so much to them that they were giving me, so they felt like it was a reciprocal relationship too.
We have to talk flavors. We haven't talked about flavors at all. What were the most popular in the beginning and what are they now?
Oh my gosh. Well, our most popular flavor is Gooey butter cake. It was then, still is now.
Did you invent this?
I did.
What's the story?
I
Tell
did.
me.
Well, Gooey butter cake was very much a Midwest thing. And so every kid in the Midwest grew up eating it, but no one had ever put it in ice cream. My homage and my first flavor coming out is I wanted to take that and put it into ice cream. And that's the ice cream that blew us up, that we made Oprah's O list with and got on TV and CB. Like, that flavor really blew us up. And then I won some national ice cream contests with some of my top flavors that no one else had ever done and that people had never seen before.
Such as?
Italian butter cookie and our salted cracker caramel and the Gooey butter cake hit #1. And now you can see it in all corners of the country in every ice cream parlor.
Does that make you crazy, or are you happy to see that?
You know, I had some national competition who copied my flavors, and always they still do. And at first I get annoyed, and then I was like, you know what? That's okay. That means we're doing something right. You just gotta like roll with it. What do they say? Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah. Most sincere form of flattery. I don't know if I agree with that, but your answer was very nice and diplomatic. I'm so excited to talk to you about the summer flavors. When did you start working on the collection? And then I want you to tell us what it's all about.
Yeah. So we worked on these flavors over a year ago. So we try to be out there a year in advance for our team so that we can like formulate the best flavors and make sure that we're super relevant. And we're much bigger now, so production is a thing. So we have to plan out production timely. Being that we're vertically integrated, we're still pretty flexible, so we can do tight turnarounds.
Not everybody knows what vertical integration means. Tell us.
Yes. So that means we make and manufacture all of our own ice cream. We make it in our milk house. We call it our kitchen, the milk house. We make it in the milk house and we serve it and distribute it out to our customers, restaurants, venues, hotels, and all of our own parlors and online at Goldbelly. But most ice cream places or companies don't make their ice cream anymore. They go to co-packers and make it. So it's really unique that we're actually making it ourselves as well still.
Do you make other people's ice cream?
We do.
No? Yeah.
We do.
We don't have to talk about that. I want to hear about your summer flavors.
We're not allowed to tell anyway.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. We have our Route 66 it's the big anniversary this year, which is funny because I have friends like in other countries who are flying here to drive Route 66 because of the anniversary. So I have a guy I went to grad school with in Japan, and he's like, my dad and a bunch of his friends are flying to the United States and they're doing a road trip. It's a freeway that goes from one end of North America to the other.
Oh, wow. From Chicago to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Legendary 2,400-mile U.S. highway.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty
Have you driven it?
I have driven it.
Okay.
I did it when I was in college.
That would be a fun promo for your collection, for you to get in the car and drive and eat ice cream along the way.
That's right. I love that. So in honor of the Route 66, we came up with some really fun ice cream flavors to kind of tie into that like road trips and vacation culture. So we're doing a Dirty Dr. Soda, which really, these dirty sodas are really hot right now. So we did a Dr. Pepper flavor, so we can't call it that. So it's a Dr. Dirty.
What makes a soda a dirty soda?
Basically, it's soda and cream.
And this all sort
over
of
ice
reality,
and carbonation.
It was a reality TV thing, right?
Yeah. It's not
Housewife thing.
My thing, but
so cream and soda.
Cream and soda.
Okay.
Yes, and flavored syrups. So it's like
almost like an egg cream.
Almost like an egg cream.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's about 3,000 calories for a 10-ounce cup.
Gross.
But they're really popular, and young consumers, female consumers, are batty over them.
Okay, dirty soda.
It's a thing. So that's our first flavor, is a Dirty Dr. Soda. And our second flavor, we're doing a pretzel cookie dough. So we're doing a malted vanilla base. We're making this salty pretzel crunch swirl throughout with chunks of cookie dough. Yum. It's so delicious. You get the sweet and the salty, and it kind of comes together. And so we thought that would be super fun. And then we're doing milkshake and fries. We are taking potato chips and we are enrobing them in chocolate and making this super awesome ice cream. So it's like the chocolate covered potato chips.
Who doesn't want an enrobed potato chip?
Right. It's so good. And it's in like our dreamy, creamy, like milk chocolate base. It's really good. And it's different and it's fun. And then to round out that collection, we're doing a cherry slush, like a Slurpee type flavor. You used to see the blue and red swirl.
Sure.
I call them Slurpees. We're not allowed to call them that either. Yeah. But so it's like a really eccentric like cherry sorbet.
Okay.
So we're doing. Yeah.
Is that your favorite part? Are you still very involved in the flavor ideation?
Yes. That's actually still my most favorite part of my role. I have an R&D chef who now helps me because I don't have the time to be in the kitchen full time. Like I used to do all of it. And now I just don't have the time to do that. So I still get to come up with the ideas and have someone else help me execute them, or the team comes up. But yeah, that's still the favorite. I still get to decide on all the flavors and what to do and what not to do.
How many of you in the ice cream world know each other? Because like when I saw you the other month at Jubilee, Kate from Kate's Ice Cream in Portland was there. And I was like, oh my God, Kate, you guys have to meet. And you were like, of course I know Kate already. Do you all know each other?
Mostly, yeah. I think there is a small unified group of artisanal ice cream makers in the country, and most of us know each other, and most of us are very friendly. And I sat on the board of the North American Ice Cream Association.
I was going to ask.
And I give a lot back. I do a lot of mentoring.
Is there a gathering?
There is every year. It's called ConeCon.
No.
Yes.
Wait, we have to cover ConeCon. When is it?
It's really cool. It's in November every year.
Okay. And different place every year?
A different place every year.
ConeCon.
The one part of ConeCon that we all love so much, you have the top ice cream and gelato chefs in the country who submit their ice creams. And then there's a 600 to 800 person blind taste test that happens. Everyone submits their ice creams and, then you're considered the best of the best. And so we have won many, many years of the flavor of the year and stuff. But what makes it great is that it's a blind taste test. And these are the people who are the most picky, in particular, ice cream and gelato chefs out there. So if you win, it means something.
Now I have visions in my head of like The Godfather, and all the clans coming together for, a meeting. Are you friends with Ben and Jerry?
I am not. I have talked to Ben on the phone. Probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, I talked to him on the phone once. He was very kind to give me some time and experience.
Are you following their whole drama?
Yeah. I mean, I've followed it throughout the years. To me, ice cream is Switzerland. Ice cream is for everyone. That's just my personal viewpoint. So, people have different ways that they go about standing up for what they believe in, and more power to them.
Again, very diplomatic. All your corporate training coming in handy. For those who don't, it's too much to get into now, but if you don't know what's going on with Ben and Jerry, take a look at it. I went to college near Burlington, so that's where they got their start. And I remember when they were an indie company and you would go to the factory.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting. And then they got bought, and they're a different kind of company. And I think a lot of what made them different was honored for a long time by the new parent company, but not so much anymore. So anyway, Ben, Jerry, hopefully you listen to this podcast. I would love to interview you guys. What are your goals now for Clementine's? I mean, has the success surpassed anything you could have imagined? Or
Yes.
did you always think, I want this to be a national ice cream brand?
No, I think it just evolved. And now I just really believe the world needs really amazing ice cream. I've been motivated to grow it from that perspective. We waited 11 years to go into grocery stores, right? Like, I did not want to do that. I thought it really cheapened the product. And I saw what companies who went into grocery and really expanded, how they degraded their product and they lowered their butter fat, right? And as a micro creamery, like, my quality is everything, right? Like, I will not change or budge on my quality ever. Even when the prices of vanilla went from $80 for my double fold to $960, I never stopped using that double fold because it was just me, right?
Why did the prices jump like that?
So there was a bunch of hurricanes in 2017, 2018 around the world that blew out a lot of the vanilla plantations. And kind of what was happening at the same time was all the big CPG companies were going to clean labels. So they were moving to natural vanillas. So they started buying up a lot of the vanilla and the futures, because all the big CPG companies, they're buying futures. So they were buying what was left. And so there was this little bit left for all the small guys, and supply and demand. It went from, we were paying, when I opened in 2015, 2016, I was paying between $70 and $80 a gallon for a double fold. And within a couple of years, I was paying over $900 for that same double fold vanilla. So what happened is, most ice cream companies in the country at that time, they all formulated vanilla out of their flavors, because most people have vanilla in most of their flavors. So they took it out. They didn't even offer vanilla in their ice cream parlors for almost a good year because it was so expensive, and they were trying to hustle, right, and find an alternative, find naturals. And for me, I said, no way. That's how, like, the true test of an amazing ice cream chef is their vanilla ice cream. And I was never willing to sacrifice. So I was paying over $900 a gallon for years. And then it went down to $800 and $700. And now it's around $270 to $300.
That's still a massive jump.
Yeah.
Wow.
But quality.
So when you go check out other ice cream brands, do you get vanilla first?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can tell a lot about an ice cream by their vanilla.
Okay.
And I'm really particular too.
No doubt. So what's next? What would you like to do next with Clementine's?
I want to make Clementine's a national brand. We've built the manufacturing facility. I love the idea of creating jobs and creating opportunities for people. We have our own baking team, our own pastry team, our own production team. Clementine's is a much bigger endeavor than I ever thought it would, but we're giving people opportunities they would never have. So I think for us, we're going into grocery in a very limited scale to test that out now that we have capacity. Going into franchising, because I had so many women who came to me on this journey and said, I want to have my own business. I want to be involved in my community. I am not the person to go and create something from nothing. I don't know how to make ice cream. I don't have the years to invest to do it. Would you franchise? And so it took 5 years of people approaching me. before I said, okay, well, how could we do this and maintain our organoleptic experience in parlor and with the product and put it in the hands?
Maintain your what experience? What'd you call it?
Our organoleptic experience.
Organoleptic.
Yes.
Learning all these new terms from you. What does organoleptic mean?
So organoleptic is all of your five senses. We curate in all of our ice cream parlors an organoleptic experience, meaning everything you see, hear, taste, touch, all of your senses is curated. So the bench that you sit on, the degree of a corner that you feel, everything you touch is so intentional. The music that you hear is different during the day than it is in the evening. We have created this experience for people. You know, you go into most ice cream places and it's very transactional, in and out. We do not do that. Like, it's an experience. You're going to walk and cross the magic threshold. You're going to smell the waffle cones. You're going to be greeted a certain way. You're going to hear certain music, Instagrammable everywhere in all the, we have the most beautiful parlors.
It's so interesting you say that because so many ice cream parlors are no frills. And you walk in and it's just that sort of like freezer smell, and there's nothing really special about them. And I'm always like, peeps, you need to step it up a little.
Yeah, and so many of our national other competitors, right, they're trying to make it as cheap as they can. And I say, we have the best ice cream served in the most beautiful ice cream parlors by the kindest and nicest people. And so you walk into our parlors and you feel like you're in France. You feel like you're in a beautiful place. You're eating the most incredible product you've ever had. You're creating memories with people. It's really a special place, and you feel like it's special. You walk out with this feeling that it's something different.
We're sold. All right, let's do a speed round.
Okay.
Say goodbye. I'm so sad. I could talk about ice cream and business all day long. What beverage do you start the day with?
Water.
I'm used to people saying coffee. Water. That's so smart. What is always in your fridge?
Challah bread.
Why challah bread?
Well, I'm Jewish and we eat a lot of challah bread, and I'm addicted to the Trader Joe's brand of challah bread. It's ridiculously good. Clean label, and it's kosher, which is good.
I think
we didn't talk about that either. So we're the only artisanal ice cream company in North America that's completely, like, our signature line is completely kosher certified.
Oh, cool. Good to know. There we go.
And that was really driven by young kids in my community who couldn't eat ice cream because it's not kosher.
I think we know the answer to this, but your favorite food as a kid?
Ice cream.
What's your favorite snack food today?
Challah. Carbs. Anything carb related. Carb related.
Do you cook at home?
All the time.
Yeah. What's your most used kitchen tool or implement?
My spoonula.
Spoonula? What's a spoonula?
It's a spatula and a spoon in one.
It's a spatula and a spoon in one.
So it's like, it has rounded edges and it's kind of
is it called a spoonula?
I don't know. That's what we call it.
Huh.
I call it.
Where do you get it?
Every kitchen store imaginable or online.
Okay. You might have to send me a photo of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, you probably have one in your kitchen and it's probably called like a it's probably called something else, but I call it a spoonula.
A spoonula.
Because it's a spatula and a spoon in one.
So many words from you. What are you streaming these days? Could be music, movies, TV shows.
Gosh. Music. I'm trying to bring more music back into my life.
What are you listening to?
Oh, right now, a lot of Carole King, a lot of like 70s and 80s stuff.
Yacht rock?
I love yacht rock. Actually, my wedding reception band is a yacht rock band.
Wait, when are you getting married?
Labor Day weekend.
I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Took me 50 years.
Oh, good for you. And you have a yacht rock band.
That's
great.
Yeah.
Will ice cream be served at this wedding?
Absolutely. The whole weekend. We have a whole weekend of events.
I love it. Are you creating a special flavor?
No. All my flavors are special.
Oh.
It's like when someone asks me, like, what's your favorite flavor? I'm like, the one I'm eating at the moment.
Are you reading anything right now?
With my upcoming nuptials, I have been like down this rabbit hole. I'm really into Judaica paper cuts. So I'm doing a lot of like historical research on that right now.
Great. Nerdy.
Love it. Yeah. Like I go all the way in when I
always ask about dream travel destination, but do you have a honeymoon planned? Do you have time?
We do. We're going to Croatia and Malta.
Nice. Why those two? Because
I've never been there. I've been to Croatia once for a very short time, but I'm trying to go to places that I've never been before. Because I tend to go to the same places all the time because I love them. So I'm trying to be more adventurous.
Do you have your dress and everything picked out?
I do. I was on the last day before they wouldn't let me order it anymore. And I had to pay half the cost of the dress in rush fees because I was like, I'm too busy to plan my own wedding. So I've now hired a wedding planner to help. And I'm trying to, I'm on a finite timeline.
I want to see a picture of the dress.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Are you doing, what is it? Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you have a blue ice cream flavor?
I do. It's called Blue Moon.
Oh, the famous blue moon.
The
Tell
famous
us what
blue
that
moon.
is, because that's not a thing here in New York.
It's from Michigan, Wisconsin area, and it is a combination of black raspberry, lemon, and almond. It's actually a really sophisticated flavor, but kids love it because it's blue. Some people say it tastes like Fruit Loops. Some people say it tastes like a Bombe Pop. I don't know, but like we cannot never have it. Kids lose their mind. Like we always have it in pints because it's a staple that people love. And when they find out that you have it.
And almond, where'd the almond part come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does that come through or is that kind of hidden?
It does. Well, if I'm a master taster. So like if you're a taster, you can also taste it if you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, I can taste that. But if you're not thinking about it or no one tells you, you have no idea what's in it.
Interesting. Last question. No idea what your answer is going to be. If you had to be trapped on a desert island with one food celebrity, who would it be and why?
Oof. I would say, just because she's so top of mind right now, Nancy.
Silverton?
Yeah. Because
she makes a mean gelato.
She's so inventive and she can create something out of nothing. And spending that time at her, I got to spend some time with her in her kitchen before the cherry bomb party. She is just a master at all things. Yes, to spend some time on an island with her. We'd kill it.
Mention you would kill it. I mean, I would spend 30 seconds with her anywhere on the subway, on an island.
Yeah.
And the party you're referring to, that was last year when we did Cherry Bomb Jubilee in L.A.
Yep.
We did the kickoff party at Nancy's house. And I was just like, wow, we should just fold up the tent here because it'll never get better than a party at Nancy Silverton's house.
It was amazing.
Couldn't believe it.
I had a trip to Europe planned. I canceled it. I moved mountains. I was not going to miss a party at her house and
the best part was
no way.
It exceeded any expectation I could have had. It was even better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. In fact, I wrote a letter after that party. I wrote a letter to the Smithsonian because, they have Julia Child's kitchen. I said that they need to seriously look at Nancy Silverton's kitchen and they need to consider I actually wrote a letter to them. To the Smithsonian.
Amazing.
I said, you need to put her kitchen in there too because it's so amazing.
She's the coolest.
She is the coolest.
That was such a great night. But you're the coolest too. You make ice cream. You make people happy. You have such a beautiful story.
I tell people all the time, I just live in gratitude every day that I get to do what I do. I'll probably never make the money that I used to make, but I am so happy. I'm genuinely happy. And I love it when people are holding an ice cream cone. They're not holding a phone. So many memories are happening in what we're creating every day. It's pretty cool.
Oh, you're the best. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I don't know, I hope to make it to one of the parlors one day.
Absolutely.
I would love nothing more.
We need a Cherry Bomb Roadshow to the Midwest.
We need a lot of things. We'll add that to the list. Absolutely. Good luck with the wedding planning.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today's show. Thank you to Tamara Keefe for joining me. Our theme song is by the band Tra La La. Joseph Hazen is a studio engineer at Newsstand Studios at Rockefeller Center, and thanks to the team at CityVox Studio. Our producers are Catherine Baker and Jenna Sadu. Our executive assistant is Bridget Pittman, and our head of partnerships is Rachel Close. Thanks for listening, everybody. You're the bomb.